Alright, so today I'm just going to show you some very basics, but today's actually just going to be a day for you to explore Photoshop. Since half the class is very much ahead, we're just going to have a kind of play-based day. We can play around with Photoshop and see how some tools work. We will, of course, learn how to actually use the tools, but this just gives you a chance to, if you're in the 3M class, refresh your skills, and if you're just starting, you can kind of play around with it and explore by yourself. Okay, first off, you want to open up Adobe Creative Cloud. And you are going to click on Photo and open up Photoshop. Now, with our computers, it's probably going to be a little bit slow. It may take a few minutes to open up. While that is opening up, I want you to go to Google and I just want you to find a few pictures. So I'm going to get maybe a picture of a teacup. And I just want to go through how we're actually going to save files. This is important for your sake, just so that you stay organized. All right, let's find a good teacup. Let's do this one here. I'm going to save image as. Now you can just copy and paste images in, but that's not what we want to do. First off, we want to go to where our Media Arts folder is, so Media Arts. And because this is a reference picture, we are going to put it in References. And I want you to get in the habit of naming your file. So this is teacup. You can see I already have one in there. Awesome. And hopefully by now Photoshop has opened, although it hasn't. So let's pause. What we're going to want to do is open up a new file. So something I just want to preface this with is the computers probably aren't compatible with Photoshop in a way that they're not meant for it. You're probably going to have a lot of waiting time, so it may get frustrating. Believe me, I totally understand. I'm working on this with you as well. I just need you to have patience, try not to get too frustrated. This is why we have flexible deadlines, because technology isn't always going to work the way we want it. Okay, I'm going to open up a custom one. So how I would do that is I'm going to open up one that is the size of a piece of paper. So I'm going to change this pixels to inches. And this is what you'd want to do if you're actually printing out something. So our height is going to be 11 inches, or sorry, width is going to be 8 inches. And our height is going to be 11 inches. Pixels per inch, that's not bad. Let's do 200. Color mode, if it is something that you are going to print out on your printer at home, your printer at home uses a CMYK color scheme, so you'd want to do that. If not, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to hit create. So that's going to open up our Photoshop and our canvas. There we go. Okay, now if I want to open up a picture that I've already saved and I just want to edit it right on top of that, I'm just going to find my photo. So I have References, teacup, open. You will notice that's going to open up in a new tab. It's kind of like a tab on a web browser. It'll be different ones that you can go back and forth between. There we go, and we have our teacup. Okay, I'm not going to show you every single tool in here. I'll show you the basics to get you started with for now, and then we'll go through more. First off, this is very small. Let's use our zoom tool. So our magnifying glass down here. Plus means zoom in, minus zoom out. I think that's simple enough. Okay, now what I want to do is, let's say I want to take this picture of the coffee cup and put it onto my other canvas here. There's some selection tools here. This is just if you want a rectangle. A lasso is if you want a freehand, if you have a mouse. I wouldn't really try this on a keypad like I'm on right now. But if you also want to do quick selection, that's what I'm going to play around with here. So quick selection tool. This is going to select things based on this on the color scheme. So there's a few buttons up here that you'll want to know. Positive means the stuff that you are selecting. Negative is if you need to subtract something that you accidentally selected. And then this is the size of the brush. So how much stuff we're collecting. If I toggle over it, you should see a circle like that. And I'm just going to click again if I want to add. Okay, it actually did a pretty good job of selecting everything because there's a nice clean edge. I'm going to hit on my keyboard Control-C, and that is going to copy it. Switched over here, I'm going to hit Control-V, and that is going to paste it. All right, now you can see that it is very tiny. If we try to click on this, we are still using the selection tool. So I'm going to click on the move tool right here, and I'm going to make it bigger. You may notice that it is very pixelated. It should have better quality in a second. However, it just depends on the quality of the picture we downloaded. One thing I would mention that is if you clicked on it and you didn't see those corner tools, that means that the Show Transform control was not selected. So if it looks like that, that just means it wasn't selected. So we do want that just for easier rearranging. And I'm going to hit the check mark here, which means yes, that's the size I want. Okay, so that wasn't too bad of a selection tool. I think it was because there wasn't a great pixel quality image. I could always use the eraser tool here if I wanted to, and I could go up close and clean up those edges if I would like to. It was only on 1 pixel, so that might take a while, but I'll just show you how that works. There we go. So you could clean up the edges if you'd like. You may notice over here, this is where our layers are, and Photoshop is all about working in layers. We have our background and we have our T layer. I can make this visible and invisible. I can also change the opacity. Something you want to make sure that you're paying attention to is when you have a ton of layers. Let's say I was trying to erase part of the teacup and nothing's happening. It's because I'm not selected that layer. Let's select this again, and then I can erase it. So if you're ever trying to do something and you notice it's not actually working on the object you've selected, you probably have just clicked on the wrong layer. All right, there's some edit tools, copy, paste. You can play around with adjustment layers. That's if you want to change something black and white, change the color of it. You can play around with that. We have gradients. You can play around with the blur tool. I suggest trying it what these tools do. You can make your own shapes. So for today, I really just want you to play around. I would download a couple images and see what you can really do with them. Again, today is just an experiment, so play around with that. Let's say I'm halfway through my project. I know it's a work of art so far, and I want to save it. So what we're going to do is save as. And remember, now it's no longer a reference picture. We're going to save to our computer. It's no longer a reference picture. It is now a work in progress. So we're going to change the file to our work in progress file. Please get in the habit of naming these. Teacup, practice. And you will notice that it's now saving as a Photoshop specific file, meaning it can only be opened in Photoshop. Okay, save. All right, now let's say that my picture was completely finished. It's beautiful, it's a work of art. Let's just do one more thing to it maybe. Let's add some color. Ooh, beautiful. Okay, let's say this was our finished project and we now need to export it. We're going to go to File, Export, and there's some different options here. But let's export it as a PNG. Remember, we are going to click a different saving position. So we're going to save it to MediaArts, and now we're going to do export. Export just means that it is ready to be uploaded onto D2L. It's your final version. You're not doing anything else to it. And again, we're just doing this so we can keep nice and organized. When you're submitting your projects, I want you to get in the habit of changing your file name to your last name and whatever the project is. So let's say this was Godin, and it was my test run. Make sure that that file is selected, and save. Alrighty, that is all we're doing today. So again, for my 3Ms, you probably have gone through this before, so show me what you can do on Photoshop, show me what you know, and then for my grade 10s or my 2-0 students who are just starting out, I really just want you to explore the tools. We will actually go out through most of the stuff, but today just play around with it.